country to try to curb the spread of COVID-19. Italy has one of the worst outbreaks outside of mainland China, with nearly 10,000 people infected so far.
Well, elsewhere in Europe, Madrid is shutting all schools after the number of infected cases in Spain passed 1,200. Poland has also decided to cancel all mass events due to the outbreak.
And in Germany, 210 new cases have been reported, taking its total to more than 1,100. Albania and Bulgaria also have their first cases.
The European Parliament, meantime, is considering whether to call off this week's plenary session. And for a closer look at the situation in Europe, Ollie Barrett joins us live from Paris. Ollie, how is Europe responding to this lockdown in Italy? It's been a bit of a shock for many people.
Absolutely, it has, and individual countries and individuals across the continent and businesses are looking at the Italian situation very closely indeed. We're seeing all sorts of different types of responses. We've seen Austria, for example, close its border with Italy over the outbreak. We've seen companies like British Airways saying that they won't be flying for the foreseeable future to or from Italy. Here in France, certainly measures are being considered along the lines of what we are seeing in Italy if the outbreak grows more widely here. And we're also seeing individual governments around the European Union and the European continent more widely looking at potential stimulus measures for the economy as real concern grows about the health of the European economy as a result of COVID-19. So Italy being very closely watched indeed.
Yeah, Ollie, the Italian model has been described as a lab test of how the virus outbreak can be handled, and WHO has also praised Italy for its sacrifice. Is there resonance with France and other European countries?
Very much so, and not least because some of the other European countries, major European economies like France and Germany, are looking at the trajectory of the outbreak in Italy and effectively expecting that they are only a few days or a week or so perhaps behind Italy in terms of the number of cases that we have seen there. They therefore may have to respond in a similar way to the Italian government at a point in a not too distant into the future. So Italy very much being closely watched from that point of view. At the same time, there are some differences in policy around Europe which are worth exploring as well. For example, sports has been effectively cancelled in Italy, but in the UK government is currently saying that it doesn't believe that cancelling things like Premier League football matches is the right way to go at this point, because the scientific advice in the UK is that actually those events aren't a particularly likely place for coronavirus to spread more than it would anywhere else. So there are some differences in European policy responses as well as those similarities too.
On the point of stimulus, Ollie, you know, many businesses are going to be looking forward to this one, and France's finance minister said that Europe needs to come up with a massive economic stimulus to cope with this. But what kind of numbers could we be looking at?
Well, I think we're looking at some pretty hefty numbers, and France's view is certainly that this should be a coordinated response from the European Central Bank, but also from European nations and also the European Union itself as well. And we've been hearing some criticism in Brussels today from some MEPs who believe that the European Union should have done more to ease the economic impacts of this outbreak already. Now, France is talking about the European Central Bank taking some action, perhaps injecting liquidity in the coming days, but we're also seeing governments doing what they can domestically too. Ireland, for example, has outlined a stimulus package today worth around $3 billion, doing things like boosting sickness payments and benefit payments as well, giving support to businesses, small businesses in particular, that are going to be impacted by customers staying at home and things like that. So there are individual governments putting plans in place, but certainly the view here in France is that there should also be a major coordinated and concerted response.
Ollie, thank you very much for that.